Oh, right. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I did the full Jimmy Kimmel thing, but that won't be up till tomorrow because he's got a YouTube got RIK it. But yeah, to be honest, I'm still confused by this whole thing. Like this video is Trump to be sued for inciting the violence, like or inciting the riots. But why would you get into that? And hasn't Trump broke the law by just it using the National Guard for that? Like that's what I don't get. That's like against the law, innit? He can't do that, but he done that. But not only then does that make him in trouble, doesn't that there make whoever leads the National Guard? Because Trump would have had to have a conversation with someone that deployed the National Guard. So isn't the person Trump spoke to also in cahoots? And aren't they also in trouble? Like, I don't know why you would get into the, like an American lawyer I watched said about Russell Brand. I don't care what he's done. I care what you can prove. Why would you go into trying to prove whether he incited it or not and not actually, like, you can 100% prove he used the National Guard. And I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Like, I don't get, yeah. Whether you agree with what Trump did or not, whether you agree he should have done it or he shouldn't have done it, is kind of irrelevant. The fact is he done it. And isn't that against the law? Like, I don't get how he was able to. Yeah, it baffles me. This is very much an American country because it's so big, and the state things is just like here. There, it's just one law really, like in England, and then Scotland has theirs, and Wales has theirs, and yeah. But the whole like different states have different things, and it gets very confusing. And I don't understand why Trump is not in trouble anyway. I could, well, let's just see. Let's go.
The governor and the mayor are very upset because they believe that as soon as Donald Trump started getting involved and forcing the National Guard and federal troops to come in, that actually incited the riot. This became about him then.
Donald Trump is deploying an additional 2,000 National Guard and 700 Marines in Los Angeles in an attempt to quell the protests against the immigration raids. We're on day 4 now of this incident. Protests began on Friday night when Immigration and Customs Enforcement, those are ICE agents, arrested at least 44 people for immigration violations. Well, the demonstrations, particularly yesterday, turned violent in places. Electric vehicles set alight, and then police were firing rubber bullets at protesters. Well, it's given President Trump an opening to make good on his promise to crack down on lawlessness by deploying the National Guard, an action which was sharply criticised by LA Mayor Karen Bass in a press conference earlier.
We didn't need the National Guard. Why on earth? What are they going to do? Do you know what the National Guard is doing now? They are guarding 2 buildings. They're guarding the federal building here in downtown, and they're guarding the federal building in Westwood. That's what they're doing. So they need Marines on top of it? I don't understand that. That's why I feel like we are part of an experiment that we did not ask to be a part of.
It's also a move which has led the California governor, Gavin Newsom, to say he's suing the Trump administration. Well, the US president has said he'd arrest the governor of California.
Donald Trump needs to pull back. He needs to stand down. Donald Trump is inflaming these conditions. This is Donald Trump's problem right now, and if he can't solve it, we will.
But see, that's the thing. I mean, kind of that was Trump's point that you weren't solving it. But one, this is just getting into for a tit for tat. I'm gonna sue you, well, I'm gonna have you arrested. Like it's just becoming. But hold on, let's go back. I just want to get that again.
This is Donald Trump's problem right now, and if he can't solve it, we will. Conditions. This is Donald.
Well, the US president has said he'd arrest the governor of California.
Donald Trump needs to pull back. He needs to stand down. Donald?
Yeah, I don't know why Trump would even go in there, and like Trump should have just left it. Like there's there was nothing good that could come of it. Like if the protest is getting out of control, let them burn LA to the ground. The rich people in Hollywood would soon um, come crying back to come and keep the streets safe again. But why don't Trump just do that? All right, burn the place to the ground. Over 44 people that was violating thingies. This seems a bit much.
Trump is inflaming these conditions. This is Donald Trump's problem right now, and if he can't solve it, we will.
That's Gavin Newsom, right. To find out what's happening, Conan Nolan is chief political reporter at NBC Los Angeles, who joins us now. Conan, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Just tell us what's happening on the streets right now.
Well, there continue to be protests. It's not nearly as bad as it was yesterday, but as the night grows longer, the odds of there being more violence escalates. The 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 Los Angeles Police Department has received aid from other police agencies, the LA County Sheriff's Department, other municipalities in the region, the California Highway Patrol, and so it is. And it's not widespread unrest, unlike the Rodney King riots from years ago, from the George Floyd riots 4 years ago. This is isolated to one part of the civic center of downtown Los Angeles, which is very large, but it's pretty much around the federal buildings where these undocumented immigrants have been taken. So it's not affecting most of the city, not by a long shot, but it is getting a lot of attention, and it still continues to be a problem for police.
And when you get sort of vehicles on fire, you get photographs like on the front page of the Times this morning that sort of paint a picture of real fury. Tell us about how the US president has decided to intervene to try and stop this. Is it being viewed as disproportionate?
Well, it's irregular under the U.S. the federal Constitution, the United States. The president does not control local law enforcement, and the only time when soldiers with helmets.
That's the thing. That's not a good visual. I mean, it's not a good visual to have cars all burnt out, and also to say that Trump started it when the news themselves said that Trump showing up with police would just cause more trouble to a situation at the moment that is just people having fun watching cars burn. So they was already burning cars before um, Trump got there. So yeah, but if I was Trump, I'd just let them. I would. I'd go right then, coming in, everybody out, and I'd do a speech and say there will be absolutely no interference in California. Have at it. It'd be like the purge. Like I'll just build a wall around California. Go, yeah, have it.
And guns are allowed to patrol a municipal street,
But
a
that
city
isn't
street,
good.
or any kind of
Looks like stormtroopers all over the place. They don't look good.
municipality, is when they've been asked to by the governor of the state. The governor has control of what's called the National Guard, which is a wing of the military. And the National Guard is used for all sorts of emergencies. But if law enforcement truly needs them as a secondary force to help back them up, they can call on the governor to do this. In this case, the governor didn't want to call out the National Guard, did not believe they needed to be called out, and thought, in fact, they would be they would incite a riot if they did. And that's the other thing. You sometimes you don't want to put those kind of forces in the street. And Donald Trump went over his head and said, "I'm going to federalize the state military." Now that had the last time that was done was 65 years ago, when I think it was John F. Kennedy was trying to enforce the desegregation of schools in the South, and the southern state, Mississippi governor and the local officials were not going to protect the black students who were going into these desegregated schools. So he sent in the military without their permission. That's the last time that's happened. It's rarely ever occurs. And so the governor and the mayor are very upset because they believe that as soon as Donald Trump started getting involved and forcing the National Guard and federal troops to come in, that actually incited the riot. This became about him then,
Yeah, and
and
that's
not
what made
about
it, really
right.
accelerated it. I mean, Gavin Newsom, the California governor, said Trump was acting like a dictator. This is a line we cannot cross, an unmistakable step towards authoritarianism. Explain to us this now row between Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump is saying he'd like Gavin Newsom arrested.
Right. Well, the federal law supersedes state law, but under the federal constitution, the founders of the republic, they were concerned about the leader of the army, which is the commander in chief, having the ability to use the army in the interior of the United States against American citizens. So, under the Constitution, the army is only used to defend the country.
Yeah, and that is a line that he shouldn't have crossed. It really is. Like I say, regardless of whether you think it deserved it or you didn't, there is a line where once you start mobilizing forces against your own people, it defeats the whole purpose of the country. It's like, what is the country at that point? Like, Trump should have just stayed out of it. In fact, he should have come out, made it very clear that he's offered the National Guard um, to come and sort it out, and that it's been denied, and then just let them burn through and let them sort it out themselves.
Enforcing the laws requires civilian police departments, and that's it. Only in exigent circumstances will you ever bring in a military force, and even then, it's only at the acquiescence of local agencies. And so that's foremost why the president, I should say, the governor believes the president overstepped his authority, which is why they're suing. Now, there's no love lost between the very liberal state of California that does not like Donald Trump and has never voted for him, and President Trump. And he has decided to test out his effort at arresting undocumented immigrants in this state. And it's not a surprise. He dislikes California. He's talked about defunding it, taking not allowing money to be federal revenue sharing to the state. And yes, he's talked about if Gavin Newsom gets in the way of federal immigration officers somehow, some way, in violation of federal law, we will arrest him and we'll arrest the mayor. That's never happened in the history of the country, but that gives you an idea as to how absurdly insane the politics is around this.
It absolutely is. Thank you so much for explaining some of the details.
But that is the most fascinating thing. It is insane. Like, that is a big step. Like, I don't agree that Trump did that. That is a step where you go, what are we all doing now then? And also, if you think that Trump should have done that, then all you're doing is handing that same power to the other side in a few years when they get voted in. And then what? They decide to, I don't know, send the National Guard into a Republican state because the Democrat president thinks he's incompetent. Like, yeah, Trump should just stayed out of it and just let what was going to happen.
Live from LA, Conan Nolan, the chief political reporter at NBC Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, Trump should have just done a Tommy Shelby move. He should just pull the National Guard back to the borders of California and just make sure contain it within California. Was that it'd be like Tommy Shelby, like when the feminist wants Tommy Shelby to, because he owns all the factories, and he's paying like the men £10 a week and the women £7 a week or whatever. And she's like, if you don't pay the women the same amount, then at 1 o'clock everyone's gonna walk out your factory, down tools and walk out of the factory. So when he's like, he's like, come for a meeting. And when she goes for a meeting, he says, yeah, you said as long as women are paid the same. So I'm not going to raise it up to £10. I'm going to bring men's down to £7. She's like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, how about that? But yeah, Trump shouldn't have got involved. Just let them do their thing. But it does seem a bit more like that as well. Like this has just become a pissing contest for the two sides, basically. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Although, because I saw the mayor or the whatever the guy is of LA saying, "You think you're a tough guy?" to Trump or what? I was thinking, yeah, well, let's see how tough you are when police turn up. Imagine if Trump gets the thing of California, but that is it. That's like the line you can't cross. It's just the people is protesting. It's like, yeah, you can't use your own forces against. Like it happened. I said in the Jimmy Kimmel Fall thing. It happened in our country with the miners when all the miners were striking, and Maggie Thatcher. But I said she even had the good decency to dress them up as police. That whole scene of all armored men in the streets of America, like that's a horrendous visual sight. It does look like stormtroopers. But yeah, I don't understand. Like, if that is against, I don't get what. Still, I don't understand why Trump isn't in trouble. And Allah. But yeah, yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.